So, Daryl, it's been what a couple of days now since the end of that first test. I guess you and the whole team have now sort of had a bit of time to kind of reflect on what went on there and kind of lick your wounds. I mean, what's the mood in the camp?
Yeah, look, I guess it's never nice to lose test matches, first and foremost. But for us, I think we did a lot of good things for parts of the test, and we were in the hunt right up to the end. I think the thing we just realised is we probably need to do all three facets for longer periods. That's probably the one thing we've recognised from that first test is, especially the way I guess the Bangladesh bowlers built pressure on those kinds of surfaces. For us, that's what we've learned and we'll be looking to do heading into the second test in a couple of days' time.
Yeah, as you say, the second test, it's what in a couple of days' time. These two tests are kind of back to back. They've come thick and fast. In a certain respects, does that actually help you to sort of get over a defeat in that first test, i.e., you're not waiting too long to kind of get back on the horse?
Yeah, I think that's just the nature of international cricket, especially at the moment. Is obviously the schedules are pretty busy, and for us, it's been really clear on the things that we want to do as a group moving forward into the next test, but also not dwelling on outcomes too much. As long as I guess we're sticking to how we want to play cricket as Black Caps, then yeah, we'll go a long way to winning games throughout that. So yeah, we won't overanalyze it. We won't live and die by the outcomes that are brought about. As long as we're sticking to who we are, then we'll be pretty happy.
Sure. And then kind of looking back at that first test in a bit more detail. I mean, I personally thought it was quite a gripping test match. Went to a full 5 days. It was really close. The first couple of days there was sort of barely anything in it after those first two innings. And then it's kind of seemed that day three was kind of the turning point where, the Bangladesh batters, particularly the captain Shantu with his century, kind of eventually ground down your bowling attack and kind of took the game away a little bit. Was that your sense?
Yeah, look, I think there's a number of key moments throughout that test. You can look back and think what if or what we could have done better. But for us to get parity after the first innings, and to have them in a position where we could have reduced them a little bit more in the total than what we're chasing at the end. We always know chasing in a fourth innings, especially over here in these parts of the world, can be very challenging. And again, it just comes down to a couple of key moments here and there, which hopefully we can do better in the second test, which will go a long way to winning the next test match. But again, we're right in the hunt. We recognise what we need to do better, and we'll do that hopefully in the next test.
Sure. And yeah, like you've sort of said, there were certainly some bright spots there for New Zealand during that Test match, not least Glenn Phillips with the ball, and also how can you not mention Kane Williamson, his fourth consecutive century in four consecutive Tests, and obviously you shared a bit of a partnership with him during that innings as well. I mean, give us a sense of what it's like to sort of bat with him, standing at the opposite end, watching him at work.
Yeah, for us, we're very lucky to have a player like Kane, who's been not only part of this group for he's been part of this group for a long time now, and he's been a leader of this group, and he continues to do that with the bat, which is awesome to see. I know personally, I learn a lot off him watching how he goes about his business on a day-to-day basis, and not only as a cricketer but as a person, he's just a bloody good bloke, and we're very lucky to have him.
Indeed, yeah, certainly are. And I guess, yeah, just last sort of focus question on the test, I guess. Sort of going into day five, I mean, I felt, well, looking or watching a bit of the test, the evening session, for example, on day four, and watching you bat, I think there was a DRS review. I think it was with Ish Sodhi, and it went in your favour. I saw you kind of fist pumping that. So it seemed to me that you had a genuine sense of being able to still get something out of the game, sort of going into day five, be it maybe possibly a draw, if not the win.
Yeah, for me, I'm a competitor at heart. That's what drives me, is trying to win games of cricket for our country. And whenever I'm out there with bat or ball in hand, I just want to get stuck into the moment and try and help us win those moments. And Ish is he's one of my best mates. We've played with each other domestically since we were about 18 years old. So yeah, it's always good fun being out there in the middle with him with a silver fern on our chest. And yeah, we were definitely pretty keen to try and stay out there as long as we could and try and chase that total down. And it wasn't meant to be. That's the nature of the game we play, but we're never going to give up, and we're going to go right to the end. And hopefully, you know, we've seen this game produces some pretty special things in its time. And yeah, if you don't have that belief, then that can't happen. So
Indeed, and you know, I'm a keen watcher of Bangladesh cricket, and I remember West Indies chasing 390 odds not too long ago. So yeah, never take anything for granted when chasing a total in Bangladesh for sure. And then I guess kind of zooming out a little bit, you know, you and you know several of the team have been on the road for quite a long time now. I know you had a bit of a break, I think, in Dubai, sort of post the World Cup, but just kind of, you know, how everyone's feeling at the moment. I know Ish, I think a bit earlier, was sort of saying how everyone's still sort of really focused and up for this second test, as you know, I expect you will be. But is there a bit of a challenge to kind of not mentally check out, i.e., you know, not mentally sort of visualize yourselves on the plane back home before that test has kind of started?
look, for us, we love playing Test cricket. It means a hell of a lot to this group to play Test cricket, and yeah, obviously the World Cup was an amazing experience and created memories that we'll never forget. But at the same time, you know, it's the start of a new Test cycle, and we recognise as a group how special that is, having won it obviously a couple of years ago now. So yeah, again, Test cricket, it's bloody good. It's so much fun, and yeah, we're excited to always put on those whites and get stuck in for our country, and to know that we're home in a week's time is nice as well. So we'll make the most of this next 5 days and get stuck in, and then I'm sure we'll enjoy a quiet one on the way home and get to spend some time with our family after that.
No doubt. Yeah. I mean, is there one thing that you really look forward to? I mean, what's the one thing you do as soon as you get home after sort of being months away on the road?
Yeah, I'm a dad of 2 little girls, so I'm sure there'll be yeah, plenty of time spent with them over the next few days once we do get home, and some tea parties or playing with dolls or something. Christmas is obviously coming up, so I'll probably have to go do some Santa shopping as well. But yeah, obviously it's nice to have a balance outside of the game, and yeah, my family's a massive part of why I do what I do, and yeah, it'll be nice to see them after a test victory, hopefully.
Sure, no doubt. And as you say, yeah, you're back in New Zealand in a week or so's time, and then you're actually facing Bangladesh again in a white ball series. I mean, both your teams must be sick of the sight of each other, right? You played a white ball series pre the World Cup. You obviously played Bangladesh during the World Cup. Quite an eventful game where Kane Williamson ended up getting a bit injured his finger with that throw from Shantu, and then you know you're playing the Test series against them now. Do you ever feel like, you know, I'm just sick of facing these bowlers again, or I'm sick of sort of standing in the field watching these guys bat?
No, again, that's the nature of playing international cricket. Is you go through phases where you'll play all 3 formats against teams, and for me, it took a while to get to this stage to play international cricket. So I just love playing for New Zealand, and whether it means, you know, we're playing the same team over the course of a month, that it doesn't worry me. I just love being part of this group and love learning off a number of world-class players within our side.
Sure. And then I guess kind of looking back a bit further to the World Cup and that semi-final match in Mumbai, you know, again, have you had sort of time now? It's been a few weeks since that match. Have you had time to kind of think back and reflect on it? And you know, what's your overall sort of experience and assessment of that game?
Yeah, I guess it's the challenge of only having a couple days off before you come straight into a test series, and your mind switches into preparing for a test match. But yeah, obviously a very special tournament for us as a group and personally. And yeah, I'm sure once I do get home and have that sort of little time to reflect on what's been in the last few months, it'll probably sink in a bit more. But yeah, we obviously gutted to have not gone the whole way and win that tournament. I thought we we're in positions to try and win those games. But at the same time, when you come up against some world class teams like India and Mumbai on that night, yeah, it was a pretty special night, and the crowd and the atmosphere are things that stick with you for life. That's for sure.
And I mean, obviously, from a personal point of view, you played such an amazing innings in that match, still ended up on the losing side. I mean, does that kind of make it feel worse or better in some ways? Do you have a sense of personal satisfaction that you did your absolute utmost to try and get your team over the line?
Oh, look, it's always bittersweet, isn't it, when you have your own personal success, but it doesn't eventuate in a win. That's why we play the games, to try and win games. And again, for me, I'm a competitor. I just want to get stuck in and try help us win games for our country. So yeah, that's always the challenge, is doing that. And yeah, again, that night was pretty special. I had my family there, which was awesome that they were able to experience the Mumbai crowd and the noise that it was created. And it's definitely something that we'll talk about for a long time to come as a family. But yeah, you'd much rather win games of cricket than not.
Of course. And yeah, you were just kind of alluding to the atmosphere and the crowd there on that night in Mumbai. I mean, is it quite difficult to kind of cope with a challenge of kind of a week later you're playing a test match in an almost deserted stadium in Sylhet? Is that quite, that's such a massive contrast. Is it a challenge to kind of cope with those two extremes?
I think that's the cool thing about it, is that is a challenge, and it's something that tests you as a player, not just the crowds, not just the noise, but yeah, the ability to be as present as you can and get stuck into that moment, whatever it might need to be. And again, that's the cool thing about international cricket, is it's all different every country you play in, and just accepting for what it is, and trying to be as present as a batsman so you can watch the ball and do the job. Once you get into that zone, it probably doesn't matter if there's one person in the crowd or 100,000. You just trying to, again, be as present as you can and get the job done.
Sure. And as we're sort of approaching the end of the year, I suppose, it's customary to kind of look forward to the next kind of 12 months, and indeed look back, I suppose, as well. But in terms of looking at 2024 for you, and I guess for the team as well, obviously, lots of bilateral cricket still to come, but then, obviously lots of other big tournaments out there, the IPL, the T20 World Cup, of course, and, there's other franchise tournaments like the 100 English county season. I mean, do you draw breath and kind of just take stock of things at the start of each year, trying to sort of plan out how your 12 months might unfold, because you are a multi-format player. You're so much in demand on the franchise circuit. You play all formats for New Zealand as well. Is it quite a challenge for you to kind of sit back, take a breath, work out, how the year might unfold?
Yeah, I think for me, I struggle to look too far back or too far forward. But at the same time, yeah, I guess you prioritize what goals you want, or what pinnacle events are coming up in the next period that you sort of prepare for, and then you try and plan your preparation and games and what you want to do around that. Obviously, we've got a home summer coming up with some big games, and obviously towards the end with test matches against South Africa and Australia, which will be really cool to have that at home. And then with the IPL, we'll see what happens there, and then the T20 World Cup is exciting. I know us as a group, having been in the final in Dubai and then in the semis in Australia, we're really looking forward to again being part of that tournament and getting stuck into trying to win some games of cricket and see what happens there. So yeah, it's an exciting little 6 months coming up, and then after that it will keep going as well. So yeah, it's just, I guess, being pretty clear on what you want to try and achieve over that period, and still making sure I can be a dad at the same time and get home and help out in between those things.
Of course. And just kind of looking at that 6 month period, like you mentioned, all those kind of big tournaments and bilateral series coming up, if you had to pick out one that really kind of gets your juices flowing and really excites you, would you be able to pick one out?
No, I think that's the nature of being a three format player, is they're all pretty special in their own way. Yeah, look, there's some cool things coming up in the next 6 months, and yeah, again, if you look too far ahead, you can sort of get ahead of yourself. It's making sure you just concentrate on the next thing that's in front of you. And yeah, I love obviously playing for my country. It means a hell of a lot, and to be able to do that, it took me a long time to get here with domestic cricket. So I just want to make the most of keep trying to get better each day, and keep trying to help whatever team I'm playing for win games of cricket, and hopefully you'll have some fun along the way.
Right. And as you say, yeah, you're a relative latecomer to kind of international cricket. Um, does does that kind of influence your uh, experiences in so much as, do you feel you're kind of making up for lost time a little bit? It's taking you a while to get here, so you are one of the premier multi-format players in the world at the moment. And do you feel like you're making up for lost time? You just want to play as much as you can for as long as you can, I guess.
No, I don't think that's the case. I think if anything, I look at it as a blessing that it took me a while to get here, allowed me to learn my game over a period of time at the domestic level, and have some good years, some bad years, and yeah, I think that's now helping me do what I do on the international stage. But yeah, no, for me, I guess I've probably got a good perspective in life now, and where I'm at, and I realize how grateful I am to get these opportunities to play for New Zealand and franchise stuff around the world. And it's just making sure that I don't make it bigger than what it is. I make sure that I'm very grateful for these opportunities, and just to enjoy the moment, and be as present as I can, and enjoy trying to win games of cricket. That's what drives me, and the personal achievements and outcomes from that will be what will be. But just trying to really enjoy this phase of my life, and allow myself to just make the most of these opportunities, because if you'd asked me 5-6 years ago, I don't think this would have happened. So that's probably the perspective that I take on it.
Absolutely. And just the final question, do you sometimes pinch yourself, like you say, sort of 5-6 years ago? Uh, do you, would you ever have thought that you're doing what you're doing now? Do you have those sort of moments where you're in the middle of a semi-final in Mumbai and you're like, how did I get here? Is this real?
Yeah, I think there's definitely moments which you try and make yourself aware of that as well. I think it's a great way to ground yourself. We're obviously a bunch of Kiwis down the bottom of the earth taking on the world, and when you're in a semi-final like that, it's actually taking in how special this opportunity is, and how cool it is. This is something that you dream of when you're a kid, to be a part of those moments. So yeah, it's definitely, I think it's good to be grounded, and understand where you've come from, and where you are right now. And again, it makes you grateful for these opportunities, and realize that yes, we take it very seriously, and we want to win games, but it's also is just a game, and it's about being at peace with that, and knowing if you've done the work, then the rest will look after itself.